welcome friends, neighbors, families, special guests. It goes without saying, it's hard for me not to get choked up thinking about a 9-month journey that led to us coming to New Windsor and founding this school. So time is our most important resource that the good Lord bestows upon us. So thank you for your time with us this morning. If you take photos, please share them with us today at Springdale Prep on Instagram or Twitter, and use the hashtag SPS ribbon cutting. We'll have a good time with those photos. Bear with me for just about 5 to 7 minutes. I have a few folks to thank. I'd be remiss not to thank them, and so we're going to take this time in the program to acknowledge some unique individuals with us today. First of all, can I have my founding body of students and their families, whether they be grandparents, parents, guardians, can I just have my founding students and their families to stand at this moment? Please remain standing for just a minute and be recognized. You all give us our mission, our purpose. Our days are filled with laughter, with collaboration, with excitement because of you. I think I can, in this instance, speak for New Windsor and Springdale Preparatory School when I say you have bequeathed something amazingly special in this community. Thank you. My founding staff, please stand. Everyone on this year's Springdale Preparatory School staff, please stand. Please remain standing. So these unique folks, it is hard, extremely difficult to recruit people for a project like this. You don't have extant systems. You don't have a waiting list. You don't have affirmed, endowment, all those things that bring comfort and stability to an organization. Ultimately, we will. But what I can say this group has is a sense of courage, a sense of entrepreneurship, a sense of grit. Folks say that teams take the characteristics of their leader. I'm proud to say that I have a group of worker bees who just get it done. Most importantly, they are servant leaders, and our students are in very good hands. Thank you, colleagues. Please. Dr. Charles Chin, please stand. So Charles, I don't know how to say this. When Charles Chin approached me on February 1st, I got a seemingly innocuous email that I was finishing up my tenure at the Brandon Hall School in Atlanta, Georgia. And I read this email, Johnny, my friends and I are looking to invest in a property in the States. Would you be interested in serving as our founding head of school? And so as we went a little further and got into the summer months, we began an interesting journey. Charles flew over from Shanghai. We visited more than 10 properties here, but ultimately we had a list of 75. We had commercial brokers from Pennsylvania down to Alabama and Florida. So to make a long story short, we thought that we had found another property down south, until I got a special call about the Brethren property. But Charles, I would not be here had it not been for you. And so we have two very special gifts for you today. Our students, Mayor, if you could help me hold this. Our students, in keeping with our mission of global literacy, you'll notice that our students have handwritten English letters to you, but they have also handwritten letters in whatever world language they are studying. So our Chinese students have letters in Chinese when they're studying that language. Spanish students have those, and German have those. Also, the pictures that Josh takes today, you will be able to fill in the back part of this album, and we thank you for this. We're not done, so just stay here. This is something that I really want you to keep on at your desk at Shanghai. Okay. This is an LED plaque that has Charles Chen, founding member, Springdale Preparatory School. It has a charger. You charge the back up, and the LED lights up. So it's a plaque that lights, and I will help you now sort of take it out just so our guests can see. Thank you. So there's the plug. And we have, don't worry, we have the box that goes there, so you'll be able to travel. Thank you, Charles. We are eternally grateful. Miss Ashley, you on. Ashley, come. Ashley and I are colleagues. She works on a lot of the business side and the property side of the equation, while she allows me to focus purely on educational aspects and building the school. I can tell you that our work rhythms are similar. I can't tell you how many obstacles we've encountered over the past calendar year. Ashley handles difficulty with a swage. She's calm in the midst of a storm. She handles challenges and communicates clearly with me. Ashley, we wouldn't be at this moment if it weren't for you. Thank you so much. I'm going to thank some folks who are in our audience today, and some who weren't able to make it. Our zoning attorneys, Brooks Leahy and Stephanie Brophy. Our insurance broker, Mr. Benjamin Yingling, who's with us today. Ben and I worked quite a few hours between the months of February and May. And if you can imagine, how do you get insurance coverage for a school that doesn't exist? Try to figure that out for a moment. And essentially, I'm the one that's being underwritten. And so, Ben, thank you for your patience with me. I don't know how we did it, but I am grateful for the work that you provided to get us to closing. Our wonderful county commissioners, if you could just raise your hand in the audience, our wonderful county commissioners. Making sure I don't miss anybody. Commissioner Howard, Commissioner Frazier, Commissioner Wance, Commissioner Rothschild, and Commissioner Weaver here. I believe in working at the speed of business, and you don't know how many details we had to take care of between the months of November 2016 to May 2017, and our commissioners sort of helicoptered and lawnmowered away where we didn't have to blaze certain paths. They just kind of intervened and helped us, and I'm really appreciative of our commissioners. Where's Josh Cohn and Linda Esterson? Josh Cohn and Linda. So, quick story. Thursday, January 5th of 2017, I was in panic mode because we had this wonderful story to tell about this startup boarding school that was coming to New Windsor, but imagine not having a vehicle in which to share it. And so, in a 3-hour meeting with Josh, things just became really clear of how he could help us promote the story of Springdale Preparatory School and brand the school at the same time. And Josh just happens to have this wonderful publicist who's more fantastic than fantastic itself, named Linda Esterson. Now, Linda, by day, is our publicist, but by night, she's my de facto assistant. So every detail and every aesthetic that you see here today, Linda Esterson is in some way responsible for that. And so, Linda, I thank you as much. Josh, I thank you. You're a part of the Springdale family, and Art Seibel and Jerry Karn, please stand. I know you're on my staff, but I need to recognize Art Seibel and Jerry Karn for a moment. Usually, folks, when you purchase a property, you're purchasing a property that's vacant. You can do whatever you want to it immediately, no problems. Try purchasing a property that is fully operational, but you have to plan a school that's going to open up in 9 months. That was the scenario that we faced. Jerry, who is a former Brethren employee, serves as our physical plant director, but he and Art team up to take care of all operations. Art is our chief operations officer. And so I can't explain to you the magic these two gentlemen worked between June 2nd of this summer and August 4th. So Maryland State Department of Ed was coming for their inspection on August 4th on a Friday, and they wanted to see day one ready classrooms. They wanted to see the library. They wanted to see physical plant as well as personnel records. And so these two gentlemen moved heaven and earth to meet all the opening demands. Gentlemen, I thank you so much. The mayor of this fine town, Mr. Neil Root, please stand. Mr. Frank Schaefer, I know you're in the audience. Please remain standing. Frank Schaefer, where are you? Frank Schaefer, and then any members of the town council. Okay, thank you. To run a transparent zoning process, to really inform lay folks who don't know anything about zoning as to the process, the mayor and his staff took an inordinate amount of time with us to really educate us and get that done by February 23rd of this year. And we are grateful to this town, and we couldn't have found a better location. Mayor Roop, thank you. Okay, now to some very special folks in the community who have helped us grow, who have helped us network, who have helped us just be the school that we are, and I need to thank them. Miss Audrey Semino is with us. Miss Nancy McCormick is with us. And Mr. Jim Hyman is here somewhere. Jim, if you could raise your hand, thank you. Imagine coming from a different state, not knowing anybody, and needing to get connected to the local community. The three folks I've just mentioned have spent way more time with me than they should have, quite honestly, and have given enormous resources of their time and knowledge to us so that we can better serve the community. And so, Jim, Audrey, and Nancy, I'm thankful, grateful for you. Thank you for being here with us today. And last but not least, if I could have Dennis Murphy and Mr. Joe Serra to stand. And Jack Liber. So Dennis, in his silky southern drawl, says to me, by the way, Dennis is my commercial real estate agent. I called him in March of, after Charles retained me for this position, I instantly started retaining commercial brokers in every state between Pennsylvania and Florida. So Murphy Commercial Real Estate popped up on my Google search. I give Dennis a call and say, we're going to open a boarding school somewhere between Maryland and Florida, but here's our budget and how can you help us? And I know he thought I was crazy, but he did return my call. And so we started working together. Now, interesting story. We're here June 23rd of 2016, and we went as far as Owings Mills. We didn't know about New Windsor. And so after our June 23rd visit to Owings Mills, I'm driving down I-95 with Charles Chen in the Silverado, and I'm saying to myself, well, I don't think we're going to find a property in Maryland. We need to keep moving south. So when I left Maryland on June 23rd last year, I was convinced I wasn't coming to Maryland to start this project. And so they didn't give up. About 2 weeks later, Joe Serra, Joe, raise your hand, Dennis's assistant, kept digging, and I'm on vacation now. I thought I'd got us our top two properties. We were about to contract one down south. I get this call from Dennis. Hey, Johnny, did you see that email package on the Brethren Service Center property? No, Dennis, I think we're about done with the process. Well, I don't know, because once you see this property, I don't know how you're going to say no to it. So 2 weeks later, on the 21st of July, I get on the First Thing Smoking. And Dennis is telling me about this wonderful economic development director in Carroll County who is going to work with us named Jack Liber. And so that's how we got connected with Jack Liber. And so an almost impossible story of we had given up on the state of Maryland. We were headed down south. And so many have asked, how did we end up in New Windsor? Joe Serra not giving up on the search and then telling Dennis Murphy to get in touch with me is totally how we end up in New Windsor. And Jack has been involved ever since then. Thank you, gentlemen, for being here today. All right, now we have some wonderful guests who've taken time and come from many different locations to be with us today. And so now I'm going to yield the floor to Delegate Krebs, Mr. Reedy, Delegate Rose are here with us today for a special presentation.
Thank you very much. It's just a really exciting day to be here in this beautiful town of New Windsor, and I'm interested in the story that Johnny tells about how he got here. And I think at the beginning you thought it was all about the property, but at the end you're going to realize what all you got that you didn't expect, and it's about the community and the sense of community that you have here in New Windsor, and that's something that you are not going to replicate. And just the turnout today, as you know, this property behind us is a historic property, the Brethren Center. It means a lot to our county. It means a lot to this town, and it's not here anymore. But I think you're going to fill those shoes, and you're going to realize the support you get from this wonderful community that we live in. And you were wise to reach out to our local business people, to our local, everyone that has stepped in. And that's the way we are in Carroll County, and that's the way it is here in New Windsor. So you made a great investment not only in this property, but in the people here that's going to help you be successful, and we appreciate that. I see community college presidents here. Richard Rothschild is our commissioner from the district right here, and he's been very his presence here is very meaningful, and Commissioner Weaver. So you've got everybody here, the town council, Mayor Roop, who has been your biggest cheerleader, and your biggest asset here, Charles and Johnny, you're going to find at the end is going to be the people of Carroll County and the people of New Windsor. And I want to thank Governor Hogan's office for sending, and he's going to be speaking, our Secretary of Higher Education is supportive, again, of this project. And we started off small, but 5 years from now, I can't wait to see where we are. So we're here in support, and I want to thank all of you in the audience for being such a great place to live, and we're so proud of our community. I'll turn it over to Senator Reed. And Delegate Shoemaker is supposed to be here, and he had court today, so he got called at the last minute, or he would be giving this presentation.
Just to echo what's already been said, and Delegate Krebs is right about the community here and the people. We love Carroll County. We love being a part of this community, and we're so excited to welcome Springdale and the Springdale family into our county and into our community here in New Windsor. This is a special place. This building and these grounds, a lot of really amazing and wonderful things have happened here. There's been a lot of things to serve the community. There's been the previous owners had a ministry helping Africa in a number of ways. There's someone who's churches have come here to use the facility for retreats, and there's just been a lot of wonderful things that have happened. So when the Brethren Center was leaving, many of us were obviously worried and concerned because we wanted to see the property continue to be used. And I just can't think of a better way for it to be used now than for the mission of education and community involvement, so it can continue to have that history and that tradition. We're just so excited to be here. We congratulate you on your sort of grand opening, and we look forward to working with you in the months and the years ahead as we continue to build the community. So thank you very much. And now I'll turn it over to Delegate Rose.
Well, good morning, and it's great to be here with everyone today. What a beautiful day we were blessed with for this occasion. And I will echo everything my colleagues said. I agree with 100%. I think Carroll County is a beautiful place to live, to raise your family. Every time I come to New Windsor, and my children all attended New Windsor Middle, I'm always struck by the beauty of this town and how when you pull into the town, you sort of look down and see the rolling hills, and it really is such a beautiful place to be. So I'm so happy to have you here. This place it's such a great building, a beautiful campus. Our church, Our Lady's Ministry, had several retreats here, so I too am very pleased and happy to see that it will continue to be a place of education and blessing to you, the community, and all of the children that you will serve. So I'm very happy today from our team, District 5, to bring you this official citation. Today, be it hereby known to all that sincerest congratulations are offered to Springdale Preparatory School in recognition of your grand opening, ribbon-cutting ceremony, and in appreciation for the service and support you provide to our community. Presented on this 20th day of September, 2017 by our entire team, Senator Reedy, Delegate Krebs, Delegate Shoemaker, and myself, Delegate Rose, and we're very happy to have you here. So. Yes. And we have a brand new Maryland flag for your school as well.
You want to get a photo with
Thank you. That's wonderful. Thank you for those kind words. We next have Commissioner Weaver, and I first met Commissioner Weaver September of 2016 and we've been connecting ever since. He told me very, very simply, if you all want to be here, we'll make it possible for you to be here. And thank you, Commissioner Weaver. We couldn't be more pleased. Thank you for your time, Commissioner Weaver.
Not quite that tall. I just want to say thank you for coming to New Windsor and Carroll County. This is an economic boost as well as an educational boost, I think, to our county. And when I was walking in here today, being a former educator, I don't want to talk to the administration. I don't want to talk to the teachers. They only tell me what I want to hear. I wanted to talk to the students, and you have an impressive first group in here, I will tell you that. They said all the right things. They're the ones who are going to make Springdale great, and that's, I think, the most important aspect of this. The other thing, and I did meet Johnny for the first time, it's been several years ago. We were discussing several things, and one, asking about the curriculum. What are they about? And it was unbelievable. It was uncanny. His curriculum is exactly what I am about as far as education. I had some vocational background, academic background, career connections background, where students are not only in the school but able to do something. When you graduate, you may have the book skills, but what can you do? And your curriculum was in line exactly with what I believe in. So that's when I told Johnny, if you want a school, we're going to make it happen, everything in our power to make it happen. And I believe we have done that as a county. I do want to take one moment, though, and thank somebody who makes things happen in this county. Jack, everything he touches turns to gold. I tried to shake hands with him, he wouldn't. I want to say thank you. He put a lot of time and effort into this, and with all the group here, he has made this happen, and I give him all the credit. The commissioners look good, but Jack's the one that makes us look good. So I thank you, Jack, for putting it together. I do want to take just a moment. We have 5 commissioners, and I do apologize for a couple of them. They had other commitments here this morning and couldn't make it, but we do have the commissioner of this area, and I want to let Richard just have a moment to say just a word about this area.
Thank you, Commissioner Weaver, and good afternoon, or good morning, I guess it is. It's great to be here. A brief few comments. There's a saying in life, when God closes one door, he usually opens another. And we've had a disappointment in New Windsor when we closed New Windsor Middle School. But today is a day of hope, promise, and opportunity for New Windsor. And although we've closed one school, we are opening another, Springdale Preparatory School. And I want to personally thank Jack Lyburn, Mayor Neil Roop, and the other town officials from New Windsor that helped make this happen. And I want to personally express my gratitude to Johnny Graham, Dr. Charles Chen, Ashley, and the rest of the Springdale team for recognizing the fact that Carroll County is one of the finest places in America to live, work, and play. And I also want to add, it has been a pleasure working with all of you. You are true professionals, and we are very, very pleased to welcome you to our community. Thank you, and may God bless you.
I just want to add one more comment. I want to be invited to the first graduation. Thank you.
Commissioner, that's going to be sometime around Memorial Day 2019, so it's not going to be too far away. We have a couple of juniors. Our junior students, raise your hand. Those are going to be our first graduating class. Our junior students, raise your hand. Next up, we have the fine mayor of this town, Mayor Roop. I could go on for days about Mayor Roop. I will tell you his amazing quality is that he has a servant's heart. And so on the outside, it would seem as if somehow it's a little bit edgy having the mayor of your town on your staff. However, when Mr. Mayor comes to work, he He is not Mr. Mayor. He does not wear his mayor hat. Students, when Mr. Mayor comes to work, what do we know him as? Mr. Neal. And Mr. Neal makes sure students are dressed appropriately, going to class on time, following the rules. And so he is like that rigid father figure who holds the children accountable. And so it was a no-brainer for me. But he does not let his mayoral hat conflict with the good work he's doing at Springdale. But for today, he's wearing his mayor hat, mayor of this fine town, Mr. Root.
Thank you and welcome to New Windsor. Dr. Chen, this would not be possible if it weren't for you. Having said that, though, we would not be here today if it wasn't for Mr. Johnny Graham. I have never met anyone in my life that has been dedicated and the work ethic to make this possible. You heard Mr. Graham talk about, and he recognized everybody that made this possible today. But usually when something like this happens, it takes 2 to 3 years and a staff of 20 or 30. Mr. Graham's leadership, and I mean his leadership, it was phenomenal and made it happen within a year with probably 5 people. And that is because of you, Mr. Graham. That my hat's off to you, sir. As mayor, I was unable to talk to Mr. Graham about employment here until our town council passed a text amendment for our ordinance to allow these buildings to be used for educational purposes. That was done on February 23rd. I think I was in his office on February 25th. But the most important thing about that meeting was that we had the same vision for this property, for this town. It was very uncanny. When I took over as mayor in 2009, I had a vision that in order to turn this town around, make it prosperous once again, Dealman Inn was a big part of it, but this property was probably just as big. And to have someone directing this school and providing the direction and the leadership, I know it's going to happen. It's going to happen, and I thank you. And I would like to say that this Maryland flag will go right beside the United States flag where the students say the Pledge of Allegiance every morning. Mr. Graham, please. Town of New Windsor, Mayor and Council. Whereas on August 21st, 2017, Springdale Preparatory School officially opened its doors, establishing respect, lifelong learning, and innovation as essential values. And whereas Springdale Preparatory School and the Town of New Windsor look forward to a long and rewarding relationship. And whereas Springdale Preparatory School and the Town of New Windsor share a mutual vision for the future that will result in the school and town to be recognized among the best in the nation. And whereas Springdale Preparatory School will create over 100 jobs, and whereas Springdale Preparatory School will bring economic growth to the town. Now, therefore, I, Neil C. Rupp, Mayor of the Town of New Windsor, Maryland, do proclaim September 20th, 2017 as Springdale Preparatory School Day in the Town of New Windsor, Maryland.
Thank you. Let that truck get by for a second. Before I yield the microphone to Secretary Fielder, who is gracious enough to be with us this morning. I'd be remiss right now if I don't talk about somebody who drove me when I quite frankly wanted to give up some days. Kimberly, please stand. Whether you're talking about the employee handbook first draft, whether you're talking about my curriculum first draft and needing someone to type as I sort of dictate my vision, whether you're talking about, late night issues and sort of going, is this project going to work? She said, duh, it's going to work. You're doing it. And so Kim helped me believe in myself some days when I wanted to just sort of go another route. And thank you, Kim. This has been a phenomenal journey. Is Cheryl Seibel in attendance? Cheryl Seibel, where are you? Cheryl Seibel is partner of and wife of Art Seibel, our COO. And it's very interesting. Every Saturday morning in July and August, I'd see a red Toyota pickup truck. And then I'd see a white SUV that belonged to Cheryl. And so you'll take a tour after this ceremony, and you'll see the Student Activity Center, and you'll see the wonderful flower gardens in front of Old Main and Windsor. You'll see a lot of things, a lot of beautification projects on our campus. And Cheryl, you had a great deal of, to do with those. And so thank you for, one, sharing art with me and letting me bring him out of retirement. But then you joined in and you rolled up your sleeves as well. So you and Kim actually make a phenomenal team. And so thank you so much as well. And if I have any of my sons here who did a lot of labor over the past 18 months, please stand. They're not being recognized because they're my sons. They're being recognized because they put a great deal of sweat equity into this project since November 2nd of 2016. Jerry Karn can attest to that. They were here doing a lot of things. And when we moved, we didn't know where we were going to live. So we just packed clothes, came from Powder Springs, Georgia, and split ourselves in two apartments at the basement of Becker Hall. And, my sons sacrificed a lot, sacrificed friends, and then rolled up their sleeves to work to help Dad realize his lifetime dream. Thank you, Ashton and Jeffrey. Secretary Fielder, so I always have a good anecdote to share. And so Dennis Murphy, it's like 2 degrees of Dennis Murphy. So Dennis Murphy and I don't just have a business relationship now. Dennis, I think I can say we're bona fide friends. Am I misspeaking there? So Dennis, long story short, used to be business partners with Governor Hogan, a great governor of this state. And so as Dennis tells it, well, I'm kind of glad he's in the governorship. He was a great governor. I don't know about his business skills. That's what Dennis would always say about Governor Hogan. But he's good friends with Governor Hogan. And so I called Dennis in March of this year, and I said, if we can't get Governor Hogan, we need someone from Gov's office to really mark the uniqueness of this special occasion. And long story short, Secretary Fielder, who heads up the Maryland Higher Education Commission, was very gracious with his time. His assistant reached out to me about 2 months ago, and so we were able to arrange his presence here today. A phenomenal phenomenal leader in Governor Hogan's cabinet. Secretary Fielder, we thank you for your time today.
Johnny, thank you. Hey, absolutely what a gorgeous day, and what a great excuse for me to drive from Harford County across these beautiful, through Moncton into New Windsor in this beautiful part of the state. The easiest way to explain the relationship that I have with Jack Lyburn and Dennis Murphy is to say that over 25 years ago, I was head of economic development for Harford County. For that long, our paths have crossed back and forth, and it's the tenacity that you see in these characters that get it done. Because this project, and Johnny Graham had it so correct, who was the first people that he introduced? The students. The students is why we're here, all of us. It's the legacy that we are creating. Just last week, I spoke at the rededication of Gibbons Hall at Notre Dame University of Maryland. Over 130 years ago, they started with 6 students. So, Johnny, you've already started with 4 times as many students. And when both of us are here in 100 years, we'll be talking about this. There's so many things about education that are absolutely so important. Governor Hogan, it's already been stated, I believe is a tremendous governor for a lot of different reasons. But one of them is his true understanding and embracing of the fact that education is the singular thing that transforms an individual's life. It gives them the power to pursue their dreams. It's up to each of us to help them, to remove some of the obstacles and get it there. And Dr. Chen, thank you so much for believing in Maryland and where we're headed for our vision for the future. It is about global. I see President Casey in the back from McDaniels, and understanding that just 2 months ago we negotiated with Hungary a memorandum of understanding so the Budapest operation could continue. That's right here in Carroll County. This is important stuff to understand that our students now have a global reach, not only the 5 languages that Johnny Graham pointed out that the students are already working on, but where we're going in the future. The record level of funding has continued for education, including the K-12 system as well as higher education. Several $1 billion, over $2 billion in higher education in the state of Maryland, with hundreds of millions of dollars in the capital spending. And that's going to continue. Our commitment is to look at our education as where we're going in the future instead of just what have you been doing in the past. So we're not sitting on the fact that we were number 1 or number 3 in so many different categories. Number 3 in the United States in terms of the state for PhDs in technology and professions. 72 different federal labs in the state of Maryland, many of them hiring the most technical and highly educated people in the state, just like your students will be. You think about it, if you were to think about the crash of the spacecraft from Saturn, how many years ago would it have been the engineers started on it? It's these very students. By the time they're there, that spacecraft gets there. So there's a lot of things that looking long term at what we can be doing. And New Windsor is such a tremendous place. It's not just the sense of community here, it's the relationships. It's your individual relationships that make the difference. It's the relationship that Johnny Graham reaching into the community and working with everybody to get this done. The long-term effect of this can change your community. There will be leaders that come out of this, and this is phenomenal. The other thing is just to point out the level of detail that he's going through, that this is what's holding his paper. The lion that is branding everything. And I think there's a wise choice in using the lion as a character, whether you want to talk about Lion King or even the children's books, in terms of the character, the strength that the individual brings to this. So I just want to conclude by congratulating the mayor, the commissioners, the delegates, the senators, and everybody in the community that has made such a difference to get this done. And sir, welcome to Maryland.
Wow. Thank you, Secretary Fielder. I mean, some profound words, very eloquently spoken. We have special gifts for everyone, by the way. All of our guests in Ziegler, after the ceremony, we have stick-it notes with the Springdale Preparatory school logo. Thank you, Josh and Linda. It was Linda's idea. I'm not taking credit for that one, but we do have parting gifts for everyone. But for our special guest who took an inordinate amount of time to be here today, we have a business card holder, also created by Cone Creative, but it has the logo as the background, and we want it to be on your desk just so you remember that you have an organization in New Windsor, and we may or may not be calling on you in future years, but we thank you for the relationship, and thank you for being here today. Okay, now for the fun part. Immediately following this ceremony, Mr. Mayor, what time is it now? 11:52. Ooh, I'm good. I wanted to get out of here before noon, dadgummit, and we did it. Immediately following this ceremony, let's say 11:56-ish, please meet me in the Ziegler Dining Hall. That's on the lower level here. You just go in and go down the steps to the left. We're going to have a non-alcoholic toast because we know it's the middle of folks' workday. We're going to have sparkling toast. I don't drink, so I didn't want alcoholic beverages during the workday, but we're going to toast to community and education, and then we have nice hors d'oeuvres for guests. But Mr. Art Seibel, being COO, is going to guide a few tours after the reception, probably around 12:20-ish. Art is going to take you to the Student Activity Center. He'll take you to a special robotics demonstration and competition in the Blue Ridge Multipurpose Room, and let you see just this gorgeous campus and some of the projects that we've undergone to really make it an independent secondary school environment. So engage him, ask him lots of questions. He's also aware of our strategic plan that we'll make public in March of 2018. So Art will be guiding tours along with Jerry from the dining hall at about 12:20 or so. And we just want you to take your time, talk to folks, get to know our staff, really engage. Even though we say 1 o'clock is the time we're officially ending it, you're our guest, and so stay here as long as you need to as you engage folks. We thank everyone for being here. This day has been more amazing than one could ever fathom. Thank you for your time, and we look forward to a phenomenal relationship. Yes, Linda. How about that? See, I told you she was my assistant, unofficially. Secretary Fielder, could you join me on the steps? I almost forgot the reason for us being here. That's how excited I was. watching.
Yeah,